joined now by United States Senator Tom Cotton. Senator Cotton, I don't want you to comment on Tucker and I. Tucker's an old friend. He does what he has to do to get ratings. But Liz Cheney said weakness is provocative. What is your assessment of how we have responded to Iran's shoot-down of our drone? Here we are 4 days later with knowledge of, at least in the press, counterattacks via cyber and new sanctions.
Hey, good morning, Hugh. It's good to be on with you as always. Well, Hugh, I made my views on this question clear a couple weekends ago. I thought Iran's attacks on foreign vessels on the high seas warranted a retaliatory military strike. Historically, one of the quickest ways to get into a shooting conflict with the United States is to impair the freedom of navigation on the high seas and later in the air. It's because we depend on that for our prosperity, being a continental nation separated by two oceans from the rest of the world. So I obviously believe that an attack on American surveillance aircraft warrants a retaliatory military strike. Now, the president decided not to undertake such an attack. His stated reasons were that it was an unmanned aircraft, no American lives were lost. One thing he did was draw a very clear line around Iranian behavior, though, to say that if any American is harmed by Iran, and importantly by Iranian proxies in the region, then Iran, I think the word he used was obliterated. Second, he imposed very tough new sanctions on top of our crushing sanctions just yesterday, to include sanctions on the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, who by some accounts is worth $200 billion, kind of a surprisingly materialistic and greedy lifestyle for a supposedly godly man. I saw those reports to you as well of cyber operations against Iran. I will not comment to confirm or deny any such classified operation. I will simply say that, of course, our cyber forces, just like our conventional forces, are the very best in the world.
Let me ask you then about the Udall Amendment. What does it propose to do, and why do you label it on Twitter this morning radical?
Through this week in the Senate, we are debating the annual defense bill, a bill that usually passes with 90 or more votes. But an amendment proposed by Senator Udall and several other senators is truly radical. It would prohibit any funds from ever being used in any kind of hostility with any Iranian forces without an affirmative act of Congress. So think about that, Hugh. An F-15 pilot who's in international airspace or an American destroyer who's in international waters comes under attack by Iranian forces, they cannot expend a single round to defend themselves if the Udall Amendment were to pass into law. I'm not sure there's ever been such a provision adopted by the Congress that doesn't even allow American troops to defend themselves if they come under attack. We'll see if there's going to be a vote on that amendment this week, but I'm happy to have a debate and a vote on such a truly radical proposal.
Last night, President Trump was asked by The Hill, did he have the authority to take action, retaliatory action against Iran without congressional authorization? He said, absolutely, yes. And by the way, that would be the position of Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton, and George H.W. Bush, all of whom did the same, as did Reagan, when necessary. Have the Democrats forgotten the inherent war power of the commander-in-chief, Tom Cotton?
Hugh, let's not forget some other presidents, because I don't think George Washington got a declaration of war to put down the Whiskey Rebellion.
No, he didn't.
Or Thomas Jefferson to counteract the Barbary pirates for exactly these kinds of attacks on commerce on the high seas. The president, of course, has the inherent constitutional authority to direct our forces to defend themselves and to defend their facilities and installations and defend our interests. The Udall Amendment, in addition to being unwise, would almost certainly be unconstitutional if it purported to limit the president's ability to direct American troops into hostilities to defend themselves and defend America's immediate interests.
That's a remarkable display of constitutional knowledge by someone who went through Harvard Law School. I think we should just send that up to Harvard as evidence that people can escape there and still know what Article 2 means. Senator Tom Cotton, thank you. You probably learned it in the Army after Harvard Law School. That is exactly what Article 2 stands for. The president was completely right last night, and you wouldn't. Left-wing Twitter was crazy. But then again, the resistance is crazy. Thank you, Senator Cotton. Coming right back. America Lots More on the Hugh Hewitt Show.